Doing well. Oops. I hope you had a nice week or weekend. I did. I've been playing around in Inkscape, and that's what you can see on my screen here. Although this is not, hi Anna, this is not the leaf we're going to do, but this is one I've been playing around with. And it's quite a large one, and it's got a funny end on it, so I was playing with that. Let me get that a little more. Get my screen moved down here a little. There we go. I don't want it that wide. I want to get it only partly. Get one of my layers or panels out of there so that I can get to my layers. What I want to do is I'll put the opacity back up so you can actually see the leaf that I was drawing. I don't even know for sure what it is. Kind of looks like an oak leaf, but I can't remember. It's a leaf from down in Texas, so I can't remember what kind of a tree it was from. And I started, this was my first trace of it right here. Let me get, you see, I got all kinds of lines around. Two copies of that one. But when I traced it, you can see it's got this funny fat end and it's a little kinked up there. I wasn't quite sure that I'd ever want to tat this one like this. Um, so I started just playing with it. And I've got some of the lines that I've traced and changed a little up above. I kind of like the way something like this looks. Um, but then I also took two of the lines and put them together up here. And I really like this shape. Are you all seeing this well? I know last week you weren't seeing well what I was doing because I didn't have my streaming software window open enough. I don't know quite how I tap this shape. Um, and this round end is a little bit large, but I was thinking, I guess I could go the other way, thinking it might be a nice arm for or a dendrite is what they're called, for a snowflake, or just a space for them around in a square, like um, take this one here, duplicate it, flip it um, horizontally, and make two of those combined to make a big X in the center and just make a square motif. Or I could, a medallion, or I could make a round medallion out of it. So that's just the things I'm playing with. And then I went down, and from this shape here, this end I thought ought to be different. So what I did is start pulling the pieces apart. Um, I liked the bottom really well. And I don't know if I've ever showed you how from like this solid leaf here, I wanted to take, I liked this bottom part and I especially liked this right here. I might not want to tat a point there, but I might. And I kind of liked this section here, but I liked this leaf down here. And so by going to getting my node tool, let's see, can you see all the nodes? I've realized that these nodes are probably awfully hard for you to see. Um, so what I'm thinking about doing is seeing here, I went down to my bottom little black triangle to get my preferences. Now, node tool is the first one. And that's not showing me how big I can make the nodes. Let's see if I can. I don't change things very often. Handle size. I wonder if that's what I want right there. In the interface, I'm wondering if the handles will make the nodes any bigger. It might only make the handles bigger. Oh no, it made the nodes, but now you can really see the nodes. So, get this centered a little better so I can see. If I just now, with my node tool, select these nodes right in through here, see how they've turned blue? I've got them selected. Now I'm going to do Control Copy. And I'm going to back out and go down here. I do have to click off of this so it's not selected anymore. And I'll paste it. And all I've pasted is this part of it. But look what happened. It took the rest of the leaf and turned it into just this flat side. If I can grab that one right there. No, I don't want that one. Okay. What I want to do is just have this bottom part. And so I'm going to select this node, hold my shift key, select this bottom node, and now I'm going to go to Path, Break Apart. Now, if it worked, I should have. No, it's not working. I wonder if I can just break it apart with one node. I'm going to try using this up here. Break path at selected nodes. Now you can see my nodes changed from the big square one. It changed to a diamond one. Now let's see. Yep, there we go. Now I've broken it apart. So if have my selection tool, if I select the whole thing, it's like they're still hooked together. I'm going to go to Object, Ungroup. And if that doesn't work, no, what I'm going to do is just select all these nodes on this bottom piece, and on my keyboard hit delete. Now I have just the bottom of the leaf. I didn't when I selected this one myself before, I got a bigger piece of the leaf. I got the stem too. But that's how I got this piece down here. And then I did the same thing with this leaf down here that I liked, the one that's on the bottom, down over here, and I made it this way. Notice that, I'm going to get my Z key. Notice that the tip of this leaf is cut off. So I just made it into a point. When I drew it. And then I took the top part, and instead of these three big this fat end, I made it just a rounded end. So I've just been playing around with that, and that's one of the things you can do. Now, this isn't the leaf we're going to trace today. We're going to go to that right now. And before we go, you'll see that we have all of these wonderful things I can work with later. And when I was working with the pen tool and making some lines, and I ended up with this. And I thought, oh my gosh, that looks like an angel skirt, and this could be the arm coming out for a flying angel. So I will probably take that at some time and work with that. Just lost my new one. Let me get a new page up here. Anybody have any questions or comments about what I showed you? That was just kind of fun little piece on what I've been doing and how I come up with things sometimes. So was everybody able to download the brown leaf, curled leaf? Yes, you were able to download it, thumbs up or not? Another interesting thing too is that a new version has come out. It's 1.4. I don't think there's a whole lot of differences that will affect us. I did download it, and I believe that's what I'm working in now. But new things that they've added are not things that are going to affect us right now while we're working on classes. So you don't have to download the new version. I'll just let you know that it's out there. Unless eventually I come across something in it that would work for us. I haven't heard from anybody. Did you get the leaf, or did you at least see where you could get it? It should have been in the email and on the Facebook post. Oh, and it's on the website too. So I'm going to get that leaf and bring it in. And you'll notice it's a PDF. I'm just going to say okay. And here's my leaf. What I found, and you'll see that I've got a small white small page. This image was super large, and so I made it into, using another program, I made it smaller and made it into a PDF because I found that trying to get a downloadable image up onto the web page in the program we use, I couldn't figure out how to do that. So I made it the image, which was a JPEG, which is what comes out of your camera when you take pictures and everything. Your photos are all JPEGs. And I saved it as a PDF because I knew I could make a downloadable link to a PDF. And nicely, Inkscape, I've mentioned before, you can import PDFs into your documents. So that's how this image came about. And what we're going to do is outline it using the pen tool. Right now, I have it on my layer 1, my image. I don't know why that's above there. Okay, that's my leaf. I'm going to make it easier to diagram and see our lines like before, I'm going to, I clicked on the little black square before the eyeball on the layer so I could make the opacity and change it to a lower opacity so it's oh, I forgot to select it and then change the opacity. Well, oh, I'm going to change the opacity on that layer right there. There we go. Like I said, I usually go down to between 40 and 50. I can still see the outline, but my diagram lines will still will show up nicely on it. Not my diagram lines. We're going to draw a shape, a leaf shape. And so if you've got any photograph, a flower or anything that you photograph, an animal, your cat, if you want to tat a cat pattern, you'd want to make an outline of the shape first to use if you're not sketching one. So now I want to lock that layer with the padlock to the right of the eye so that now it's locked. You'll see no matter, I can't even select it. So it will not move. It'll stay in place while I draw over the top of it. And I just unlocked it. I want to move it more to the center of my page so that I'll have space around it. Oh, it's really big still. Let me see. Do I have inches? I'm going to go up and I had millimeters. Let me change it to inches. Go up and see what I've got. I thought I made it. It's 3 inches. I'm going to put it right there in the middle. Now I'm going to go over here to my layers and lock that layer. Now I'm going to go to the top layer and I'm going to click right here in the upper left corner of this panel and add a layer 2. And I'm going to name I just double clicked right on the layer there and I'm going to name it outline. So I know this is where I'm drawing my outline on. That's the layer I'm drawing on. So now we're going to use the pen tool. Hi, Kathleen, welcome. We're going to learn a little bit more about the pen tool right here. Remember how if you just make one click and go over, I can move it wherever. It usually moves by the increments when you're just making a straight line, so you can just make a straight line. And if I just double click to end it, if I click on it, there's my line. Now if I select my node tool right here, I have two nodes. They don't have any handles because all I did is click to place them down. Um, I can still, if I want though, remember we can bend it or do something like that, but it still doesn't have any hand. Now it's got handles, and the reason it has handles now is because I pulled the line down into a curve. And that's the one thing you can do if you've made a straight line, it doesn't have any handles. Once you start moving it down, you're going to have a handle. Each node has one handle. Now, if I take my pen tool, I'm going to get my selection tool and move that up out of the way. And I get my pen tool and I click and drag. Notice I drag out a handle, and when I release it, the handle stays where I pulled it to. And now here's my line that I'm going to make my next one. Now I'm going to click and drag so I get a two handle line. Now, if I want, like, there's an angle in this leaf down here that I know I'm going to want to make a change in direction so that my curve, I get another curve down. So far what I've done is I've got a curve down and a curve up. I could make another curve down, another curve up. And no matter how I make them, they just keep going. I'm going to end this and show you what I'm going to do different this next time. And then I'll show you why when we get to the leaf. Now this is a real quick um, technique or way to maneuver your lines and nodes and your pen tool. I'm going to click and drag. I'm going to click and drag like I did before. Now, if I want to change so the next one comes down also, I'm going to hold the shift key down and drag. Notice now I do have a handle like that. But when I now go up, let me end this. Instead of a smooth curve, because I held down the shift key and drew the next line, it made an angle node. Quick and easy. Now, remember how we've worked with nodes before on this curved line? I could have gone up later. If I'm outlining something and I thought, oh, I need a more of a point there, I could have selected this and gone up to this first little symbol with the pink diamond and double clicked on it. Now I have an angle. No matter what I do with that line, I can make an angle, but I can also, with this handle, move this left side around. What doesn't change is this right side. However, now I have this straight line here. If I pull and curve that, I am going to get a handle. But this time I have my handles form an angle. Instead of being straight across like these these, no matter what I do, both move together. I have a corner angle, and I end up with two different ones, which this is the way you can get a nice corner sometimes. However, down here, we were able to do it all at once. We didn't have to go back later to put in that angle. By holding down shift, we were able to get the angle. I'm going to do that again. And sometimes when I do this and move these up and around, I find all kinds of shapes that are formed. It's kind of like the clouds in the sky change. You see one shape up there if you're the kind of person who sees pictures in clouds, or and I'll see, different things and think, oh, I could use that shape sometime because it's an interesting and fun shape. This time I'm going to take my pen tool. Just to show you again, I'm going to click and drag. I'll click and drag down here. And up here, instead of clicking and dragging, with getting two handles, I'm going to hold the shift key. And instead of dragging and getting two handles, I drag out a handle. Then my next line, I can draw out a handle. As long as I keep holding the shift key down, I will get points. So now instead of my line going up and down and up and down, all curvy, I'm going up and back down with an angle. Does that make sense, everyone? Now I'll show you where we're going to use this. I'm going to back out a little here and get all these lines off to the side. Whoops. So are you still seeing that well? And are you still hearing me? Let me know you're still out there. I'm going to start drawing the leaf. You make sense? Okay, great. I'm thinking, how well can you see the leaf shape itself well as I'm tracing around it? Okay, thank you, everybody. I may make it a little, let me see, where's my image? I think, oops. Oh, this is the one. This is the one I need. I'll make it just a little darker so you can actually see what I'm doing. Okay, so I'm going to get my pen tool. I'm going to start at the end of the stem up here. And I know my stem is going to be flat, straight across. So, and I'm making an outline here, not a diagram. So I'm going to click, go to the left, click. Now, when I come down here, notice that my leaf curves outward, and then it's got an angle because this big curve is outward again. So here's where, if I had pulled and gotten my double ones, and then I go down here, see my line right here doesn't want to have that angle in it. So I'm drawing with dark gray. Let me hold my shift key down. Fill in stroke. I want black. I'm clicking on this, making it 100. All of a sudden it's like, which one is black? That's not changing it to black. I'm going to go to a different color mode here. I just want a black line, and now I filled it. Why am I not getting a dark color? Oh, am I on my path, my outline? Yesterday, I hope it's not this new version of the program, but I was having trouble with this yesterday too. I can't get off that. Maybe I do need to. Simple things. Why am I having trouble with something so simple? I wonder if the opacity, it turned it to purple. You know what? I think the opacity, I think I know what's wrong. Let's go to my layers. Opacity on that. Let me see what other color I can change it to. I don't know why it is so light. Can you see the line even though it's light? Let me change it. Let me try changing just the fill. Something. That's supposed to be black. Okay. If you can see it, that's all I need. And what I'm going to do is take out the fill. I'm going to make the line a lot bigger. I don't know why. Why we would get into the live class. Things don't want to work right for me sometimes. Okay. Well, that's too big. Just want to make it a little white. I'm going to have to go with what it is. All right. So that actually, I'm going to delete it to begin with. I'm going to get my pen tool and start outlining again. Now, I've clicked and I've clicked. I'm ready to make the stem curve, but I know I want the angle point at the end of it. So I'm going to hold my shift key and I'm going to click and drag. See, I've got a handle coming out. And now I can let go of the shift key, and I'm going to go all the way down to the bottom here. See how I've dragged all the way down to the bottom, if you see my line here. Now, this one I could make um, into an angle too, but I think I just want it to be a very small dip. And so I've let go of my shift key, and I'm just going to keep dragging all the way around this leaf. And right now I can come down, even with my pen, having my pen tool here, I can come down to my scroll bar and move my photo over. Now I'm going to click here so you can see what I've done. See how I have the outline and how I'm going to click my Z key to get my zoom, and how I have an angle right there now. I can still grab that angle, and remember when I dragged, I have one handle, so I can still adjust the curve here. And now my leaf, look, can you see how I've got a straight line? And I don't, if I click it up on this point, I don't have a handle. So here, but here's where I can just drag it to get the curve in the stem. So there's the curve in the stem. There's the angle I made. And the rest of these I can adjust because I've got the two handles. And I've really smoothed out. I didn't quite follow the leaf. So I've got my leaf done up until there. Now at this point, I could continue on and do this part of the leaf. But this is a curled leaf. And so what I'm thinking is I really want to get that curled look in it. How do you think that we could do that in tatting, anyone? So that when we draw our leaf, it's going to actually look like it's curled. Anybody have an answer? Think about techniques. Think about the light and shadows on the leaf, the colors on the leaf. What do you think we could do if we were going to tat this to make it look like it's a more three-dimensional? Or could we make it three-dimensional? Anything at all crazy coming to mind? Or, okay, what about the coloring on the leaf? No matter what color, if it's a green leaf, a red leaf, a brown leaf like this, rust-colored leaf, what differences do you see in the color? How about the lightness and darkness of the main part of the leaf that's facing up and the back side of the leaf you're seeing on this curled over portion? Can you see how the curled over portion is lighter in color? So if we were doing this flat, we could try using a medium shade of a color or dark and making this portion up here lighter. Now I haven't tried this, so whether it would work, I don't know. But what about if on this portion on top, we work underneath this part up to where this line will be, and then we do some curled rings, like run right here and here, and then make this into a chain or something that goes, um, or just make this into a big ring pointed or a chain with a point. And this part right here would go over the top. Remember the tulip and bunny pattern that had like the anchors joined, so the two outside petals were over the top of the inside petal? That gives you a 3D look. What about something like that? Can anybody visualize that at all? Is that coming through at all as an idea? I'm going to finish diagramming this and show you how I diagram. And a couple other things about the pen tool when you're using it. So I'm going to zoom back in again, just using my plus key this time to zoom in. Now I could, notice if I bring my pen down, how the end node on my line is highlighted. If I'm right over the top of that and it's highlighted and I start drawing again, I am just continuing on with that line. And notice where I put my nodes. Now, if I'm going from the tip of this leaf down here, right down here, and going up, I see that right here, it's going to start curving around. So I will put my node where that curve begins, and I'm going to make it just click and drag. Now I'll go up over to this point, and this is where I'll put a node, so I can draw that upper shape. It's hard to see my line unless I double click. I'm going to do one more and then I'll double click. Again, I want my line to come up, and this time it looks like my line's going to be going up. If I do this, notice how I'm going to have a downward curve. And this is a point where I want a second upward curve or scallop. So again, before I do anything else, I'm going to hold my shift key down and click right there. Now, what I didn't do is click at the end of this one. I'm going to just double click and end the line. What I didn't do is hold before I put this node down. So at this point, I would have to go in and select this node right here and double click it so that I can lift this one up and I can lift this one up. Now see what I've done it as I'm dragging or as I'm outlining. And then I switched, because I missed one, I used this. I could have backspaced to this node here and then just redone the end section. So there's different ways you can do something as you're working. You can always do a Control Z and go back to this node so that you're holding the shift key when I put this node in, or I can, as I just showed you, select this node and turn it into an angle. And notice now I have two handles, one that's changing the right side and one that's changing the left side, and even this one, so I can work to get the shape I want. And again, I stopped to do that right away while I was drawing, but again, I can go back and get my pen tool, hover over that very last node, and continue on. Now I got to go down and move my window. And notice my red line follows my pen tool, but it doesn't do anything, so you can just keep moving. Now here I definitely see I might want a point. Now remember, when you're drawing it, you can always change it later, and when you're actually tatting, you could change it later because maybe you don't want to tat a tiny point. So I'm going to drag this down, and I think to finish this, because I can always change it later, I'm just going to click and drag. And again, I'm going to Control Z because I am going to put an angle in there to go the other way. And I don't have to leave it a sharp angle when I actually go to tat. But I'm going to hold my Shift key and do one more. There we go. Now I'm going to go all the way over. I guess I'm going to go part way over, drag that. Let's move over some more and up. I'm using my scroll bar to move up. And here I can probably just click here and get my whole curved line for the stem. So there I have it outlined. Now, if I'm going to, I could make just this would be, to me, a very interesting and unique shaped leaf, even if you didn't do any kind of a rollover effect. If I wanted to do a rollover effect, I would probably put a line in there. Now, I would print out this outline, and then I would draw in my tatting shapes, my rings and change, whatever. Or since we're in Inkscape, we can just start drawing. I'm going to go with this shape. I like it. I'm not even going to try and do this flipped over. I think it'll still give you the effect of a dried and withered leaf because of the kinky outline of it. So now what I can do is go to my layers, go to my image, and turn that layer off. Now I have my leaf ready to diagram. What's interesting about this is I almost kind of have a wonky paisley shape. And you can make a leaf out of a paisley very easily. But then again, your originality, you'd have to really think about what you're putting inside, because I know I have seen some leaves that just look kind of a paisley shape. And you wouldn't want to put the same type of, like maybe somebody had done like a little round medallion shape or oval shape here, and then the rest of the leaf, or maybe they worked it across and back in a block type shape with a chain, a shaped chain on the outside, or whatever. You'd have to, if you're using a paisley shape, check and see what somebody else has done. And even with this, I wouldn't want the inside to look exactly like somebody else. And what I'm thinking is, I don't know if I'd want a chain down the middle, a line down the middle, but I'm thinking I need I didn't copy and paste any of my ring shapes on here. So I'm just going to make myself a little ring shape. And click on my node tool, go up to my nice little, make it shape into object to path, convert the shape to a path. Click on my bottom and double click to get the bottom angle. So there I've got one of my rings. Now, do I want maybe rings? Now, what did I do? Anybody think about what I could have done here to help myself do this better? Do you see the next step that I should have done? Or I should do right now before I start using this, putting in my rings and chains? Do I really want to start drawing my rings and chains on the same layer as the outline of my leaf, do you think? Especially if when I'm moving this angle, I could accidentally move this too. No, I don't want to do that. So what I'm going to do is click on my ring. I'm going to go up. I want to be drawing on the top layer. Right. No, Janelle, I don't want to do that. Exactly right. So I'm making a new layer. I want to go up to my very top layer, my outline, um, because it's my outline that I want to be drawing above. New layer needed, yes. So I'm going to lock my outline. Now I'm going to click on the plus over the minus, add a new layer. I'm going to call it diagram. Add that. I'm going to select my ring and notice it was down here. It's path number 7. And if I want to make sure that's what it is, that should be, I can, but I can just click the eye. Yep, that's the right path. I want that up on my diagram layer. So now I can't, oops, I didn't lock it. I bet it was this one. Outline, this, I got it locked. Oh, now I have it locked. All right, so here I go. I can start putting these and I can maybe, if I know that I can copy or a duplicate, Control D, move this one down, and then, rotate it. Maybe I'm going to want it a little bigger. I'm going to, if I do this, I'm going to get different things. Oh, this is something that you might find happen. When you move it, it looks like it's getting fatter, but it really isn't. But if I want to widen it, I could always just pull and do that or something. But I really know that Control Z. This is a nice shape. I just want it bigger. So I'm going to make it bigger by using the arrow key, and I'm going to hold down Shift so I can, or Control, so I can just make it bigger without changing the proportion of it. So maybe that's what I want to do on my leaf. And of course, I might want to move it over if I'm thinking about the center line, because if the center line comes down here, I'm going to want all my leaves to be on that line. And I could even draw myself one just to help me while I'm doing this while I'm diagramming yet. I can just add in a curved line that shows me where I am, where the halfway point of my leaf might be. And then I can add in some chains. Now, do I want my chains pointing this direction? I could put a chain here and a chain here, and so have them so that the chains of the rings are going down the center, which gives me the idea of a line. I could have a chain, curved chain down the center that I'm joining the picots along it. So here you can design right here with your outline, get your shape made, and then you would tat to fit this. You might, if you've got your nice little tatted sample of your different size rings, like you have a size 20 string like I do, I could just then match the ring to here, and I already know the stitch count for it. And you could, if you're working 1-to-1, I haven't tried this, but I'm thinking if I go to view zoom, go 1-to-1, so this is matching my leaf shape. I'm thinking maybe, I could even tell hold my sample up to this ring right here. I can't enlarge it or anything, get closer, because this is 1-to-1. This is the actual size the ring will be. But I could hold my tatted ring up to my screen and know, oh, this ring is going to be so many double stitches. And so you could even put that in on your diagram, or you could take your text tool. There are a lot of, that's one of the new things. The text tool, I forgot about that. That's one of the new things. If I wanted my text tool and I wanted to start writing in, I'll say this as ring 2. I have my R there. It's hard to see in, so I think it's very small size. So what I'm going to do is go to my text, open up my text and font panel, and it says my font size is 14. So that, whoops, I didn't mean to drag it. So that should be the right size. Size 14 is pretty big on a page. I might not even want that. And I can always change the font later. Oops, I didn't mean to do that either. I meant to zoom in. So now I could start my design. Ring 1. Maybe this first one was, 20 double stitches in size 20 thread. Go down and do ring 2 or do chain whatever. So you can really do this all in Inkscape, all on screen while you're working. Now this might not be the newer version, because I know the newer version actually shows, and maybe this does. I wonder if I can get this any bigger. Let me scroll down. It is showing. I think before what it is that we could only see the names of the fonts. Now I'm gonna make sure I have my tool, my text tool, I'm going to double click to select my text. And it's showing me that I just have a normal, regular um, font, and it's not even showing me the font. But you probably can't see this, but this freestyle script, now after it, it's a very light gray color, but it shows what the font actually looks like. And it doesn't look like it's changing my font. But this is something in here too. And also there's a search box so you can search. But why is my font not changing? I wonder if I have to have it selected this way. Not with my text. It shouldn't be. I should be able to use my text tool and change it. I'm not changing it all. I'm going to have to get used to this new version and how everything. Oh, I see. Okay. Let me select it with the text tool. Double click to, or triple click to select it. I'm going to select I want to select a script. Freestyle script. There's an apply button down here. You have to use the apply button to change it. All right. I'm not used to that. In other programs, you don't have an apply button. And now you can see it's changed the font. So are there any questions about that at all? This is how any shape, whatever you're drawing, if you've got a photograph or you've got a clip art image, anything you have, you can draw it. And that's how the pen tool works. And it really, like I said one time before, and even yesterday when I was working, if you start playing with some of these things, you can end up with something that just jumps way out of your picture. And just remember, you've got your Control Z to undo, and you've got your, I already have my undo history open. I keep it open all the time so that I can go back to something previous. I am going to show you one more thing. We got a couple minutes before 2, only about 2, but I'm going to open up one other thing to show you, one other, my Paisley Wing Angel. When I was playing with Paisleys, I've drawn lots of angels and Paisley angels and flying angels and just sketched them. And I got to thinking how much it looks like, angel wings. And so I started with my Paisleys, putting 1 for the dress and 2 for the wings. Now you can see things are overlapping here. And so I've used the shape building tool to work with this. I've also outlined a paisley shape with rings. Now, whether I am going to use that or not, I don't know. And what I've also done is used clones to the paisley path, similar to attaching text to, like the circumference, the word circumference, to the curved path. Because it's clones, I can just change this one and make it whatever size I want for all of these rings. Now, obviously, when things go around here, you have to fix some things. And here's one I just used ovals. And I will show you again how to do that and how I worked to get from this one. And notice I'm just changing the skirt shape, changing the paisley shape. And then to this one that you notice there aren't, I've taken out the overlap on the wings because I'm thinking I just want one wing showing, one complete wing, and the other one, I'm just going to have a tip of it showing. Now, this might be difficult to actually fit the tatting to. I'm not sure unless I work with tatted outlines and do just a point. But, and I probably would do that just for the wing tip, but fill the center of the wing with, um, you know, some kind of a ring shape or whatever I'm doing on it. So that's it for today. Are there any questions? And I think I'm going to have to, at someday, I'm going to have to make this leaf shape. On the top, because it's got some little kinks, I might, oh, I can't change the shape because I've got the layer locked. I might just smooth out the shape some so I don't have kinks in it. One of the things I can actually still do also is notice now I have this pointed one. If I wanted to smooth that out, I would just have this one selected and change it back into smooth it like that. Now, smoothing does not give me equal size handles, but it does give me two handles that are opposite each other. Remember, if I wanted them equal, I'd go up to this third one to the right and click that, and my handles would be equal. So later, even if I've made them points, I can reshape it because I might think, oh, it's going to be too hard to shape that. No questions. Okay, well, I hope you've learned something about the pen tool. And remember, we have no classes next week or the following week because it's Thanksgiving break. And then we'll be back. So just if you have any time around uh, 10, 15 minutes, sit down and just keep your computer open and play a little bit and get used to working with the pen tool and making your shapes and your outlines. And filling them in with diagram shapes. The other thing, remember, I could have done at this point is get out. Remember, I do have my ring copy. I don't know if I can grab it from here. Let's see. Under recents. Oh, I could open up something like this. And I might think to myself, oh, this, I'd really like one of these shades. This is the one I can't copy off of, though. I could copy and paste some things that I've already done to put into here also. So lots of ideas, lots of thoughts, and play with your pen tool because I'm sure there'll be times you'll be using it and working with it if you want to draw the outlines of something rather than sketching outlines. I think it's much more fun, really. Well, I like sketching, but really fun to play with shapes in with your pen tool in Inkscape. So that's it for today. Enjoy your holidays if you're here in the U.S. and celebrate Thanksgiving. Otherwise, just enjoy your time off, and we'll see ya. What is it? One, two, 3 Mondays from now. Well, that'll be up and posted. So we have 2 weeks of classes off. Bye bye for now.